Hey guys, and welcome to another week of WoW Weekly with Myst. In the video here is my rogue, alt number 3 or 4, I guess we'll say. I have two 60s right now, but I'm kind of leveling two characters together, which is this rogue and also my hunter. And yeah, they're just kind of... I don't care who becomes the next 60, to be honest. So yeah, that is what we're going to watch while I talk about the news. So for this week, we have Winter Veil still going on. It started up last week, and it will keep going till January 2nd, so you still have tons of time for that. One thing I would like to add in is that some of you guys might remember that last year there was a lot of talk of Great Feather Pepe being in the picture, and he wasn't. It was something that didn't go live last year, but it is alive this year. So you can find him in Ironforge or Orgrimmar and grab his tiny winter hat. So definitely go check that out. That is the new thing for this year. And then, of course, you will also want to log in on Christmas Day to get your special gift that we always get. You know, it's always unique for that year. Okay, so on the topic of Winter Veil, there is one bad piece of info here that I feel the need to share with you guys. No one's sure if it's a bug or if it's intended yet, because Blizzard hasn't really spoken on the topic yet. But it does appear that for you to get the rare stolen gift, that requires level 60 to get. If you're not level 60, you receive the stolen gift, which is bonus experience. Honestly, I can't totally remember if that was always the case. I'm guessing not, since there's a lot of pissed off people. I personally am that player that has been leveling alts like left, right, center, early expansion, like since the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. So it's been a while since I haven't had 60s. You know, it's kind of funny because Shadowland, I have the least amount of alts leveled, but it's the easier leveling. I seem to have been more interested in leveling when it took more time, you know? And now that it's super quick, I never want to level, basically. So I'm kind of opposite in that logic of thinking. But with that said, I'm going to have to change my tune because the reason I want to mention this to you guys is that there's an event that I farm for a mount and have for years, and that would be the Valentine's Day event, which is in February. So if this is not a bug, then my suggestion is that you get some characters leveled to 60, because this could be the same situation for the Love Rocket, where you can't actually farm it unless you are on a level 60. The good part is leveling super easy, so you could get a bunch of 60s in no time. Now, as for my opinion, I think that should not be the case, honestly. I know I'm always the person that's like, make things difficult. But for something like that, it's a new expansion. A lot of people are, a lot of people don't even have a second alt yet. Most people will get their main to where they want them. And then once their main is set up, has the best stuff and all that, then maybe they think about making an alt. Next up, we have pet battles that will be this week, and also the PvP Brawl Deep 6. So really not a bad week for events, which I think is great because this week is also Christmas. So I will just wish you an early Merry Christmas. However, if you do watch the channel, you will most likely see a Christmas stream and a video regarding Christmas right before. I usually do those. So, but if you're just here for WoW Weekly, I hope you have a great Christmas. Okay, so for progression, goals, and all that, no goals this week for me in WoW. Main reason for that is because I'm not actually in WoW a whole lot this week. Overwatch started. I'm a big fan of collecting those skins, so I am like going ham in Overwatch right now. I did week 1, got the Junkrat skin. This week, I believe it's an Honest skin, the gingerbread, and then week 3, it's Frosty, which is a Roadhog skin, but yeah, looks super cool. There's, of course, some new skins among many of them as well. Like May has a penguin skin this year, and there's some others. But my main focus usually is the weekly, because the weekly ends, right? So yeah, as far as the others, I just see what I can get through the loot boxes while I'm progressing through the weeklies. And then, like, the day before the event ends, I'll just buy whatever I didn't collect through the loot boxes. At the time of recording this, I've looted one of the new ones through the loot box. It is the Conductor Reinhardt skin. And yeah, so that was cool because that one's worth 3,000 currency. So no WoW goals whatsoever until like January at least. And yeah, as for progression, I've been doing my Mythic pluses. I've been doing some raiding. I'm kind of like, I don't want this come off wrong or anything. I enjoy Shadowlands, but Shadowlands is too easy. Honestly, it is just too easy. And it, for some people, that's probably a great thing. I like a challenge, and so I am going to go back to old content. We're going to start doing mount runs. I feel like I can walk away from new content for a while. And I'll still be there doing my mission boards and all that, but with the time gating and how easy things are, I don't need to be in new content consistently. So we're gonna start. I'll probably do a mount run stream tomorrow because I've been wanting to do something before Christmas, so we could do that. And yeah, but like I said, don't get me wrong, Shadowlands is great. It's just it's a great expansion for new players. For someone like me, I'm wanting more, more content, and so it just allows me to do other things, which I'm gonna take as a good thing. I don't see that as bad. It's been 16 years that I've been, in WoW, live and breathe WoW. So it's still a good thing in my mind. And it's not me leaving WoW or anything. It's just I don't feel like I need to be in Shadowlands 24/7 like I have other expansions. Like Wrath, I live and breathed Wrath. Like I always felt like I needed to be there. Whereas Shadowlands, with the leveling being so fast, I just feel like I catch up so easily, So that is the progression and goals. Okay, so let's get to the news. First bit of news is just something I thought I would mention regarding the Renown 11 Hearthstone. A lot of people amazingly thought that was going to teleport you to your Covenant. It really made me giggle a bit that people thought that was going to bring you to your Covenant, because we have had toys like that so much over the years. If you open up your toy tab, there is a shit ton of Hearthstones with that exact same tooltip on it. I am actually okay with the way things are. I set my hearth to Oribos, and then I just fly out, and it's really not that far of a flight. So a lot of the time I just go get a drink while I'm in flight. So I really don't care. And I personally wouldn't set mine to the Covenant anyway, because I do a lot of things outside of Shadowlands, right? So yeah, the best place for my Hearthstone is going to continue to be Oribos, because there's the portal there to Stormwind that allows me to go wherever. So even if it had worked that way, I wouldn't have used it that way. But a part of me thinks that maybe some new players might have thought that that was the case, because I imagine new players have probably set their Hearth to their Covenant, and then when they got that Hearthstone, they saw in the tooltip that it takes you to the Covenant, not realizing that it'll always tell you that. It'll tell you wherever your current Hearthstone's set to. Right? So that might have confused some new players. So just figured I would clarify things. The Hearthstone is appearance only. And yeah, that's literally all it's for. It's going to take you exactly where you currently have your Hearth set to, and it is going to share the cooldown. The only one that doesn't share cooldowns with the Hearth is the Garrison Hearth for WoD and the Dalaran Hearth for Legion. Which is why I never feel like I need another Hearthstone, because between those 3 Hearthstones, not to mention as a druid, I have my Class Hall little portal. I don't Hearth enough for those to all be on cooldown at the same time, so I just never feel the need. However, on the topic of that kind of stuff, there has been something that's been added, and that is that the Kyrians now have direct flight to Spires of Ascension. So you can get a direct flight to that dungeon now. Next up in news is, this is more regarding myself and people that live in the same country as I do. So this is kind of Canadian news here. But it's been going around to multiple countries, so it may hit you at some point. But as a Canadian, the WoW game time is going to be more. So that went into effect on December 16th, and basically what I normally pay and what other Canadians normally pay is $19 a month is what Canadians generally pay for their monthly game time. And yes, before anyone brings it up, yes, you could waste your time in the game farming gold and get your time for free. Me personally, I prefer to just pay the money and then actually play the game and enjoy myself for the money I've paid. I'm not interested at all in playing to keep my sub active. I want to play to have fun, So the 30 days will be $22 Canadian. And the 90 days will be $61. And if you sub to the 180 days, you're looking at $116. I will admit that is getting a little crazy. It's, even the 19, I had done the math, and I'm like, how much do I really spend monthly on a game that I've already purchased right out? And it's a lot of money. I've been playing since 2004 when it launched, and if you do the math, that is a shit ton of money I have spent on a game I already own. It's a definite increase, and honestly, I think I'm so used to, as a Canadian, getting the shaft when it comes to, purchasing things. WoW has always been pricier for me. buying a new video game has always cost $80 when it costs you guys like $60. You know, whenever I buy the collector's editions for WoW, I'm looking at a good $100 at minimum. And yeah, so I think while it sucks, it's kind of one of those things that I just deal with. I'm used to. I expect the price to go up. And yeah. So while it sucks, it's just, you know, it's life. As far as US prices, the US prices are the same. It seems to be just affecting others, which is funny because the last time I checked, the currency rate still equaled $19 Canadian for the sub. So I'm not sure where the extra $3 is really coming from. Honestly, when it comes to WoW, the way I think of it is that no matter what the price is, it's less than I'd spend if I was a person that went out. And WoW keeps me indoors, which means my leisure activities basically equals $22 a month, right? So that's what I tell myself to make myself feel better regarding it. Okay, so the next piece of news has to do with the Mythic table. A couple of things I'd like to mention here, but the first piece of news is regarding the item level. Mythic 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all set at 207. They've made the change that Mythic 10 and 11 will issue you 203 at the end of a dungeon, and then Mythic 12, 13, and 14 get you 207. Some people seem to be upset with this. Me, personally, I think this is a good change because the Mythic 9 is 200, and while 207 is higher than 203, it makes no sense why 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are giving you the same item level. At that point, a person who's maybe not progressing through the mythics, but just wants to get the best loot for the least amount of work, they're gonna just do a Mythic 10. Why would they ever, progress that much further? You know, unless they're gonna do the Mythic 15 for the 210. But if you want 207 loot, are you gonna do a Mythic 10 or a Mythic 14? Yeah, you're probably gonna do a Mythic 10. You know, so it doesn't make sense for them to lower that. I think that's a good change. I know some people might not agree, but to have the same item level for, that many... there's 5 levels there that you're getting 207 loot for. Yeah, so I think that's a good change. The other thing that I would like to mention, and it is that if you do the LFR, if you're not really a raider and you just do your LFR, that actually counts towards the vault, which I really didn't think it would because LFR is not real raiding. It's always been kind of left over in comparison to doing a dungeon queue, because you do queue for it. You're not with a reliable group or anything. You're just going in and wishing for the best, basically. So I was really surprised to see that was actually on the vault. So if you do your LFR queues, definitely check the vault on Tuesday. The loot will be low, of course. They're not going to give you good loot for doing LFR, but it will be on the table. If you want better loot, you are going to have to actually raid. But I just thought I'd mention that actually does count for your raid progress on the vault table. Okay, the last bit of news that I have for you guys has to do with Torghast. I left this for last because I have some opinions, and I thought I'd share my opinions, because Torghast is literally the reason, well, I won't say it's the reason that I stayed sub to WoW and bought Shadowlands. I am one of those players that they could release a pile of garbage and I would, pretty much stay subbed and, buy their game, right? And the biggest reason for that is because I don't play, I play more of their old content than I do their new content. Their new content, they time gate us so much and I can walk away and then come back a week later and I've still done everything in one single day and I'm still time gated, So I definitely do more old content than new, and that's basically why I stay subbed and why I buy their new games, because you kind of have to be able to, stay connected to the world more or less, right? And so Torghast was a huge selling point to me. I really loved Torghast, and I still do. Basically, the news with Torghast is that it's getting nerfs. And that's what I'd like to share my opinion on. For solo, I play a balanced druid. For a balanced druid, Torghast is a fucking breeze. I know there's people out there that say it's tough, but maybe the difference is that I'm an experienced balanced druid. I've been playing balanced druid for 16 years, so that might be the difference. But it is a breeze to solo through Torghast. It really is. There's, and especially if you're part of Night Fae, because Night Fae has that OP ability. And so for my druid, I'm don't need no changes. But I have seen how it can be for different characters. I do have a lock, and the lock can solo it, but struggles with less gear. You pretty much gotta be gearing up the character to smoothly go through Torghast as a lock. I've heard that some hunters have been having problems. I only have my lock and my druid that do it right now, so I'm not too familiar with the problems of the other characters. But my boyfriend plays a Ret Pally, and I've started doing the Torghast with him because he's having troubles soloing it as the paladin. So there definitely is some difficulties there. However, I will say, if you want a true difficulty and you have a balanced druid, do what I did. I started really and this is kind of leading on to the next discussion, but Torghast is long, right? And so I had one night where I just wanted to do it, but I didn't want to be there for hours. So what I did is I went into stealth mode and I stealth past everything, every level. I stealth past all the ads, went to the boss, killed the boss, went through the portal to the next floor, stealth past everything else. And while that seems easy, that was tough as shit, because what happens is by the time you're on the final boss, you have collected next to no currency and you have no extra Torghast abilities on you. So you're killing the final boss without perks, basically. So if you want a real challenge, I would suggest doing that, because that gave my druid a challenge. Up until then, I was just kind of casually doing it, because I only really find on the druid that it's challenging when I'm grouped up. It seems that when I'm solo, things are so easy, and then when I group up even with one person, it's the difficulty goes supremely high. And like I said, that night I just kind of wanted to get it done. It was the day before reset, but I wanted to go to bed, and so I just kind of stealth passed through everything, and I accomplished it. It got done, but it definitely is a lot challenging without abilities. So the next part of the Torghast discussion here is the time frame it takes. There is a reason I stealthed. Torghast does take a lot of time, so I do agree with that one. So now, with the nerfs, I'm okay with them making it a little easier. I just don't think that it should be very easy. I believe that Torghast is meant to be a difficult thing. It should be the challenging mode. So I do believe that they should keep Torghast difficult. Just don't make it so that people hate it. Nerf it a bit that they aren't, spending an hour running a Torghast run. But I also don't think you should just breeze through it, because that's what's going to destroy Torghast. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm okay with the nerf, but just don't nerf it too much. Honestly, the problem I have is not that they shouldn't nerf anything. Like, if you feel something is too strong or too weak, make changes. But the problem is that the reason WoW has gotten worse over the years is because people complain, and then they make their changes to make those people happy, and then those people that they make happy are generally the casual players that leave after, a few months anyway. And then the game's crap, right? So it's, my deal is make your changes, but always stick with your gut. If you're originally were building Torghast to be a challenge mode, then stick with that and make it a challenge mode. Don't change it just because people are complaining. Unless the complaints are severe. But if it's, just people complaining because they can't do it, because they don't play enough to gear or stuff like that, that's kind of where my problem lies. And that's what has made the game, easier. And easier is not better, in my opinion. Easier equals boring. And boring for majority of players. I'm not talking about us that have been around for a while, but the typical player coming into the game, if it's boring, then they move on to a different game. Not everyone is like myself and some others that will deal with their issues because they love the game so much and will play it no matter what, right? The average player is gonna leave it to go play something else. So one additional thing I'd like to add into WoW Weekly, even although this has nothing to do with World of Warcraft, but I would like to just add that Diablo Immortal is in alpha now. So you may be able to catch some streams on that game if that's an interest for you. Me personally, I'm not big on mobile games. I'll play a couple here and there, but not something like Diablo. It's maybe like Bejeweled or something, right? Now, rumor is it's free to play, so maybe when I'm away from home, if I can handle it for long enough, I would play it. But like I said, I'm not fond at looking at a phone screen for long periods of time. And so the only way this game would ever get played by myself is if I was not at home, which honestly isn't too often because I like to play World of Warcraft. That's pretty much all I have on that. I'm gonna watch some of it, but it's just that kind of game is a lot of motion on a mobile, and I don't like the small screen and the clicking things on your phone. If it was on PC, it would just be so much better, but yeah. So I'm gonna be more hyped when they release some info. When they release some playable content with Diablo 4 rather than Diablo Immortal. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that. So definitely keep your eye out for that. Anyway, that is all I have for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this week's WoW Weekly with Myst. Happy holidays, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.